Oh, I'm sorry. What's that? I'm sorry. Baba walked by daily. The principal and the pupils would stand on one side of the road to offer salutation and were very drawn to him. But adjoining it, it was another student hostel whose students would ridicule them. Once they were surrounded by Bao and began questioning Baoji. You are all well-educated Hindu. They said, why do you leave your religion and go running after Parsi saint? Bao replied, this in itself is a matter which has to be understood. I see in Meher Baba things that are beyond religion, and for that reason, I am with him. The students would daily waylay and pastor Bao with questions and pretend to show interest in Meher Baba, thinking that they were sincere. Bao would take time to talk and then tell them stories about Baba. One day, Baba asked Bao about the students, and Bao described how he was trying to draw them to Baba. Baba corrected him. You are a fool. If you plant a seed in a stone and water it daily, what will happen? Nothing. It will not germinate, and all your labor will be vain. So what is the use of telling them about me? They are like stones. Their time has not yet come. Do not waste your energy with them anymore. As Mani wrote to Phyllis on 23rd of October 1955, Baba said long ago, I am like a lion, but to the moment the caged lion, those who will recognize feel the strength of my power with only a small degree. When I speak with my uncaged myself, and then you will know my divine strength. That's from Lord Mayor, page 3723.
Kind words can be short and easy to speak, but the echoes are truly endless. Jai Baba.
Uh-huh.
This happened this summer. Sitting there and I was like, oh, Jai Baba. Everybody with a samadhi is waiting. For all his lovers to come and bow down. Fragrance is sweet, and the wine's intoxicating. Meher Baba is calling you. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing. The sweetest name of Mayhem, and it's gonna set you free. And one day, the veil's gonna be lifted. When beloved Mayhem, he turns the key. And everybody where the money is waiting, for all his lovers to cross that threshold. The fragrance is so sweet, and the wine intoxicating, and Mayhem Baba is calling you, and Mayhem Baba is calling you, calling you home to Maribah, where the samadhi is waiting. For all his lovers to come and bow down. The fragrance is so sweet, and his love is intoxicating. Meher Baba waits, and Meher Baba's calling you. Meher Baba is calling you, calling you.
Beautiful. Wow. That's fresh out of Chicago. That's unbelievable.
Summertime. Oh, it's Maribah calling.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to read just a few quotes that have to do with our the subject tonight. From Wayne Myers, we got the idea of wholeheartedness, and from Marta Flores, we got the idea of kindness. You know, so here are some quotes on wholeheartedness. We were not. This is John Ruskin. We were not sent into this world to do anything into which we cannot put our whole heart. And Baba said, what more can one give than wholehearted love? And these are some quotes from about kindness. This is a famous one. Be kind, for everyone is fighting a great battle. That's Philo, the Greek Jewish philosopher. And the Dalai Lama said, my religion is kindness. And Ralph Waldo Emerson, Leatrice once told me that Darwin Shaw had been Emerson. You cannot do kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late. A part of kindness consists in loving people more than they deserve. And Baba said you should behave toward others with kindness and humility. So those are some of the quotes. So as I said, the topics we've chosen are wholeheartedness, and Baba always emphasized the ideal of wholeheartedness in all that we do. And when we are wholehearted, we're really more alive, and we're in the present. We're really engaged by being wholehearted. Half-hearted, I'm gonna give you my little sojourn with half-heartedness and wholeheartedness later on, my own example. But then, because there are attitudes and emotions that keep us from being wholehearted, and that's my story is about that. And one thing about wholeheartedness too is that those who are really wholehearted about what they do, the object of the wholeheartedness can be taken away, but they can't take away the wholeheartedness, and that just wholeheartedness moves to a new object. So there's a certain a detachment in wholeheartedness, actually. Now, the second topic is kindness. And kindness is like generosity, forgiveness, patience, humor, uh, empathy. They are it. Kindness is one of the divine qualities that comes from the heart of each of us. And when kindness is expressed through someone, it is really it's like a light, a flash of light in darkness. It's something of beauty to see kindness. And I don't know, I mean, when I see kindness, it creates a feeling of the wholesomeness and worthwhileness of life. So, anyway, so I'm going to open this up to anybody that has something to say about kindness or wholeheartedness. And how kindness has, it could be even a pivotal moment in your life, or when it can be Bob's kindness or a kindness of someone else. And so, anyone care to venture forth? You're going to make me go first? Oh. Did I see Marvin there? Oh, Marvin's got his hand. Yeah.
Before we go, may I ask something? It's Marion Lewis. May I ask
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Because I see there's quite a few people on. Is there any suggestion about maybe how long we should share or anything like that to allow room? Or are we just letting it be open-ended?
Yeah. I mean, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, not too long.
Okay.
But, you know, just because there might be other people that are kind of.
Yeah. Because I was kind of in my mind, kind of preparing, and I want to keep it not so long. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Sometimes you can get it. I know when I used to bring up stuff with Erich, and I'd have a massive problem, but when I was with him, I'd be able to get it in about 4 sentences.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just not saying just 4 sentences, but
Yeah.
somehow I was able to. My thinking was much clearer.
Yes.
when I was
Thank
in
you.
presence.
Yeah, I can go on. I just kind of want to get a sense. Thank
Good.
you.
Good idea, Marion. Yeah. Okay. Is it Marvin?
Sure, okay. I'm faced with a problem with kindness every single day. Uh, I open up my Facebook account and I see uh, absolutely insane posts of conspiracy theories and whatever it is. And it really tears at my heart to try to figure out a way of showing love to these people so that they will see what others see. And I don't know if it makes any sense to anybody, but it's a situation that we have every day facing us that we've got to somehow pull Baba into that sphere where we're the most angry and the most upset, and pull that kindness forward where we can relate to them and see them as Mayor Baba himself.
Yeah. That is a tremendous challenge. I mean, there's this saying, what you resist persists. I mean, sometimes if you resist these types of things, it just feeds more, it feeds it more. There's a quote from Jesus that used to really bother me back in my college days before Jesus. I mean, before Baba, what am I saying? Where he said, resist not evil. And I thought, why would Jesus ever say, resist not evil? That's what you want to resist. But after I got into Baba, I realized he kind of brought home to me, you have to love in the face of evil. You know, if you resist it, you get it on you. That's the. So anyway, yes. But keep that on the. We'll keep that on the table, Marvin, because that's we're all faced with that. Yeah. Rainy.
That's a good one, Marvin. I mean, it's easy to be kind to the people who are kind, and easy to be kind to the people that you have similar lives about, and so on. But when you see something that's so bloody absurd that you could just about kick the fluffy slipper right at Baba, it's really tricky to be kind, right? I have a very lightweight fluffy slipper that whack, and sometimes it gets you. It's just a good idea because then I don't take it out on the person, and Baba still beams back from the painting. He could
Oh,
care.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't care less. I
That,
have I have a Butte kind thing here that came to mind. What's all that came to mind with the word kindness, where Barbara and Francis are concerned, but it's tricky, Jeff. Imagine that it's Francis and it's tricky.
uh-huh. Always.
So it's actually extremely beautiful. It's page 36, so we will call it B36 if the beloved is all in all. You have expressed much loving kindness to me of late. I'll repeat the first line because this is the tricky part. You have expressed much loving kindness to me of late, bending down from your beyondness, tender, compassionate, bending down as a beautiful rain cloud, healing the parched earth, as the breeze from the hills, filling the night with its perfumed breath. But because of your loving kindness, I can cheerfully welcome death. And I know I will be born again with the smell of wine on my breath. By this I know that I'm not very far from death, which I welcome, for it will bring me closer to you in birth. And I would only grieve if there were none to take my place in song duty. But you have lovers enough to celebrate your eternal beauty. So because of your loving kindness, I can cheerfully welcome death. And I will not my dust whisper and will I not my dust whisper inspired songs in the singers' ears, so that they will sing all night, sing till the pale dawn appears. And will not you in the dawn open to them your door, and a few drops may spill on my dust of the wine you pour? And because of your loving kindness, I can cheerfully welcome death, for I know I will be born again with the smell of wine on my breath.
Beautiful. Wow, you got a great quote.
So
Hey.
it's like Baba was so tough on the Mandali, unendingly tough on the Mandali. As you like to say, Jeff, imagine every moment of the day, inches away from God for years. That he was so tough that once he was kind to Francis, he thought, yep, that's it, I'm going to die. It's all over.
He saves the kindness for the end. Yeah.
But of
Yeah,
course, I think he got ill was what happened. And Baba was being kind because he wasn't very well.
yeah, there's a famous story, but I don't know if there'll be time, but about where Baba says, to be infinitely kind, I have to become infinitely cruel. You probably remember that line, but that's all.
I think the quote's actually, I have to be temporarily cruel to become infinitely kind.
Oh, did he? Yeah, okay.
Well, that's the quote that I remember from Gene Adriel's Avatar.
You hang in there, Josh. I'm going to remember it that way too.
Yeah, yeah, good. It's temporary. I mean, it's not. It's not. It's not forever. Anyone else have anything that to share on either of these subjects? Ah, Prakash.
Jai Baba. Yeah, I mean, this topic of wholeheartedness always intrigues me. You know, whenever I think of Baba or do anything, I always wonder if I'm doing wholeheartedly. And that's the problem. But Baba has given some clues here and there, which we all obviously read. But here I'm going to share one little message Baba gave when the Ahmednagar Center was renovated and repaired, and Baba went there to the newly renovated place. So Baba says, all of you present today will always be able to receive my full blessings if you love God wholeheartedly. So wholeheartedly as to completely forget the affairs of the world. But remember, the slightest hypocrisy on the spiritual path debars one from further progress. And now here is the crux. To love God wholeheartedly is to see God in everyone and in everything. Therefore, you should love God in such a way that everywhere you look, you see nothing but God. So it appears, unless we somehow relate everything to Baba, uh, at least in my thinking, they cannot be complete wholeheartedness. And to this extent, Jeff, remember you asked Robin to read a quote in Effort and Grace before the beginning, which says, "Do all for me."
Yeah.
And that particular one really, to me, is the way to go when we really do anything, when we want to do anything wholeheartedly. I think you all know this quote, "Do all for me," unless
Go
you
ahead and
want.
read it. Do you
Yeah,
have it handy?
yeah, yeah,
This is
uh,
a great quote, and it's right down on our level. This
yeah.
is beautiful from Baba.
This month, Baba says, "Do all for me." The less you think of yourself and the more you think of Baba, the sooner the ego goes and Baba remains. When your ego goes away entirely, I am one with you. So bit by bit, you have to go. Today your nose, tomorrow your ears, then your eyes, your hands, everything. So better think of me when you eat, sleep, see, or hear. Enjoy all, do not discard anything, but think it is Baba. Baba who enjoys, Baba who is eating. It is Baba sleeping soundly, and when you wake up, remember it is Baba getting up. Keep this one thought constantly with you. If you do wrong, then think Baba is doing wrong. If you get a pain, think it is Baba having a pain. If you do all this sincerely, you will know something. Try to forget yourself and do all for Baba. You should live a normal life and just love Baba, not be attached and not be attached to your being. Then you will have a curtain of Baba's love protecting you from the world. So that's the end of the quote. But this is what I think makes our actions, at least in my mind, our actions wholehearted, because all the time we are saying it's Baba doing everything, Baba doing everything. You know, that makes our actions more genuine and less hypocritical and very wholehearted, because we know it's Baba doing it. Just like how Baba said here, to love God wholeheartedly is to see God in everyone and everything. And doing this, "do all for me," a quote, what Baba says, will help us do things in a wholehearted fashion. That's what I thought I'll share.
Yeah, beautiful. You know, and what came up when that was read is when you do wrong, think it is Baba doing wrong. And so Laura Smith was there, and she said it worked for her. Back when she was young, she was addicted to drugs. And so someone said to do the provisional ego. When you take drugs, think it is Baba taking drugs, which she did. And she got through it so much faster than if she were doing the drugs herself. She said Baba's taking drugs, and she did that faithfully, and because Baba was there with her, she got through it much faster, because eventually Baba kind of topped, you might say, tapped her on the shoulder and says, do you want to keep doing this? You know, but he was there. So there's a great truth even in that. Yeah. Anyone else want to venture into Oh, don't tell me I have to say something. Oh my God. Now, anyone else? Okay, I'll tell you my little sojourn from half-heartedness to wholeheartedness. You know, I grew up in a family that was, culturally minded, well educated and everything, and I went to one of the top universities, and which wasn't that great, believe me. But I was on a trajectory to you might say, do some projected into the future, some like a promising career, given my background. And along about my junior year, I started agonizing. What am I going to do with my life? I had no idea what I was going to do for a career. And I started really feeling troubled by it. But then I heard of Baba. So, and when I got into Baba, I had such an expansive experience that being the world was just kind of absurd. And so I didn't really worry about what I was going to do. But what happened is I actually had to kind of pay the rent and get to be able to eat. So I started taking one odd job after another. And I mean, the odd jobs, I was like a janitor, a dishwasher, a house painter, all of these things I was doing. And then after a couple of years of that, I thought, God, I can't just do one odd job after another. Baba, just point me in a direction. You know, just tell me what you want to do, and I'll go into it in depth. You know, so I put that before Baba, and more years went by. You know, I was a counselor with emotionally disturbed kids. I was a teacher in the inner city. A nurse's aide at a nursing home, an editor on a newspaper. One odd job after another, and I kept thinking, Baba, just direct me, to do something, and nothing was happening. Then finally, after about 7 years of this, and I was now about 30, I got a job at Begin Ice Cream here in Myrtle Beach, in North Myrtle Beach. Scooping ice cream, for ice cream cones, sundaes, milkshakes, banana splits. And I'm thinking, God, I mean, I could have just come right from junior high and done this job. What am I doing? But then it was so troubling after so many years. I said, I am going to, I'm sure Baba, really prompted this. I'm going to do this job of being, working in this ice cream place. And I was working with Baba people. I'm going to make it important. I'm going to try to do this for Baba, and I'm going to try to take it seriously. Like, this is an important job. It's not a dumb job. So I did. I got into it, there would be like a long line of people impatiently waiting for their things, and I would say, well, if anybody can come up with a 9-letter, 1-syllable word, I'll give them a milkshake. I come up with these things. If somebody, can guess what state I grew up in, you get an ice cream cone. So I had fun with it. But then, so I actually kind of felt Baba in this stupid job. You know what I mean? I felt like, and so then my next job after this, the summer season ended, I got a job working with a woman named Laura Delavine, working in her yard. She was a long time Baba lover with Baba, and and so, uh, but anyway, well, I'm going to say this. My attitude before this was I'd have these jobs that were kind of, not using my potential or my talents, and I would kind of do them. I just go through the motions, but I had my, in the future, that's when I was going to get my career. So I was only kind of half-heartedly doing these things because, it was only a matter of time before Bob was going to like set me up with what I was going to do. Anyway, I finally had a couple more odd jobs, one as a house painter, and the next thing I knew, I was working at the center. And not only that, but all of these crazy jobs that I had that seemed to make no rhyme or reason, they all had direct use in the center. I mean, I looked after Fred and Ella Winterfeld until they died, and I'd been a nurse's aide at a nursing home, a house painter, yard work, dishwashing. I've done a lot of dishes behind the Baba levers in the factory, believe me. In fact, I don't think I'm not going to have to do dishes for about 3 lifetimes because I've really done it. But anyway, so here's what the way I looked at it is, see, I bought into the idea that I had to live up to my potential, my abilities, and my aptitude, and I looked at these other jobs as being beneath me, and that kept me from being wholehearted, and really kept me from enjoying Baba, even in menial work, even in doing dishes, even in doing very minor things. So it took a long time before I decided to be wholehearted about it. So that was my little sojourn uh, into wholeheartedness. Anyone else? Oh, hey, VJ.
Yeah, can you, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, Jai Baba, quite interesting. Yeah, just the thought came to my mind, and I thought I will share this. And definitely, this wholeheartedness and kindness, yeah, very important. Baba's message. And just it gives me an idea of one family. Like if we take example of our family, raising a family, husband, wife, and kids. So the parents, they put their whole heart in raising the kids. The husband goes to the office or does any work, and wife does the household chores, raising children, taking all details and everything because they love their family and all. So the same way, uh, Wawa said that it is the entire world is our family. So when that love grows bigger and you feel the same family feeling with the entire world, entire humanity, then that is loving God, because you don't find difference. So you feel that, oh, he's like our son or daughter or father or mother. So, but it's a really a great process. And at Guru Prasad Baba, he he never means hardly gave any discourses or anything. He just used his lovers when he came to him, and he say, I play with you, I sing with you, I talk with you, I eat with you. So he just was a perfect example. He treated us all as a children, and that kind of love. So when that kind of love is induced, definitely that kindness comes, and a wholeheartedness, when you are doing it for Baba, like Prakash ji has read the message, do it for Baba. So when we see that, oh, we are doing it for Baba as a obedience, then I think it makes thing easy because Baba wants it. So that way, otherwise, it is very difficult when we see in the world people have their own motives for doing, even for the charity also, their own motives like name, fame, and something like that. But here we are doing it for Baba. So that shows our love towards him and accepting him as highest of high. And so that's the means one of the attributes. Kindness is there for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jacob.
beautiful. Yeah, well said. You get outside your family over to the larger whole family of humanity.
Yeah.
And that's what Baba had asked, that we feel for others in the same way as we feel for our own dear ones. Beautiful. And now from the United Nations, the ex-United Nations character.
Well, I was tuning in. I'm not always. I always want to check in, and I'm not always in the mood to be here.
Yeah.
And at times, Baba immediately calls me, and that just happened tonight. Like I tuned in, and you were talking about wholeheartedness, and you were talking about your potential, and just starting with potential. For various reasons, I spent much of this day remembering. I was looking to remember certain things that Harry Kenmore said. It's something I'm writing, and I wanted to abstract certain things that I could use. And the one that came to mind, that kept coming through my mind today, was about Baba. So he doesn't give a damn about your potential. It's your ultimate he's interested in.
Uh-huh.
And your ultimate as God, your ultimate true self being. And so Baba kind of hooked me with you mentioning potential. No one talks about potential. So the other thing about wholeheartedness, I have very few what I would call watchwords that govern each day of my life. But the main one, which I read in the discourses once, and it continues to speak to me ever more deeply. I may have mentioned it here in some other context at one time. Any action, it was the discourse on reincarnation and karma. And the line was, any action that does not have the wholehearted support of one's innermost being is quick in inviting its opposite. Yeah. And of course, I took that first to mean just the karma that comes from, but it's also, there are reactions within oneself. There are reactions in one's relationships. And so I've made it a habit, a practice, and a habit to tune in and check in whenever there's a decision to make, big, large or small, and to check in whether what I have in mind has the wholehearted support of my innermost being. And I studied, at some point, I studied Course in Miracles a lot, which I personally feel Baba dictated directly, incognito. I'll just put that out there. But it talks about that you can know when you are, I forget how they put it, surrendering to the Holy Spirit. When you are listening for the guidance, if you think of what you want to do and there's a feeling of peace that comes with it, you can know that that's the support of your innermost being. And otherwise, there are some things that one may want to do and thinks a good idea, and this would be really great. But if you check in, there's a bit of a feeling of agitation. So, so that wholeheartedness is a really important principle for me. The other thing is, I tried to take notes because I forget things.
What you said there was very good. I mean, that's that inner reflection and feeling that there's a peace in what you're about to embark on.
The other thing was, which again came from Course in Miracles, but that's one of my daily invocations, I guess, that I, in my checking in, is what would you, it's 3 questions, it's a prayer. What would you have me do, Baba? Where would you have me go, Baba? What would you have me say, Baba? And to whom? And I find that just tuning into that asking, it's like Charles Haynes' book about Elizabeth Patterson. The very asking, the answer plays itself out. And finally, the other watchword, which is not about wholeheartedness, but I'm realizing I need to carry this in me in the same way. I've valued it, but I have not carried it in that way, is also from the discourses. True happiness begins to come when a man learns the art of right adjustment to other people, other persons. And right adjustment involves self-forgetfulness and love. And I'm finding now that that's the thing I need to really kind of get grounded in. So that's
Yeah.
it.
Tony, could you say that quote again, please? When you say the quote, that last one was beautiful. Could you say?
True happiness begins to, I'm pretty sure this is
lies in, wait, true happiness lies in making go ahead.
True happiness begins to come when a man learns the art of right adjustment, like a very Buddhist phrase, right adjustment to other persons. And right adjustment involves self-forgetfulness and love. And particularly when you're dealing with difficult personalities, people who are a challenge to you maybe on every single level. It seems to me that holding on to this thought and letting it percolate increasingly will be a help to me in situations like that, in responding with love in those kinds of situations. Reacting, responding with love.
Excellent, Tony. Wonderful.
That last quote, Tony, it reminds me of what Marvin opened up with. I don't think he's there, is he, Michelle? Marvin's gone, isn't he?
He went to get Aaron from work.
Because that quote addresses that whole issue about other people that I had an experience just along the same lines, very tiny little thing. But that quote's so beautiful. Maybe you could put it in the chat, Tony. It would be great if you could.
Sure.
But I went this afternoon. I ventured out into the big wild world to get a pedicure. And one of the few times I've gone out, and it was very empty, and I go to the same place and very safe, and I'm having it, and I'm all done, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for my toenails to dry, and it's all peaceful and quiet. All of a sudden, these 2 young women come in, all bubbly, and they have ice cream in their cups, no masks. They come in all bubbly and happy, and they're going to get their pedicures, and they're chatting, and they asked the owner, who I've known for years, they motioned, is it okay if we take our ice cream and sit in the chairs? And she said, yes. And I internally went like, what? They don't have masks, they're talking all over, they're eating. I got really, really upset internally. I did not show anything exterior, which is not like me. But this is my new, this was my new learning. And that I don't have to respond to every single thing I don't like and make it verbal. Most of the time I do, but okay, so I sat there for a second and I thought, I don't feel safe in this environment now. And I was upset because I had paid money for the pedicure, gave her a huge tip, but this gal came in and she just was able to do what she wanted. So I decided, instead of asking her to put a mask on, because I didn't know if it would cause a scene, I just got up and went and sat outside the shop until my toenails dried. And the owner knew I was upset, but I didn't say anything to her. So I've been thinking about that. And then when Marvin brought up his situation on Facebook. Well, of course, I don't do Facebook because of that reason. Then Tony read that quote, and that's the kind of thing that makes me, the word kindness comes to me, because I felt that I was right. I had my rights. She wasn't being safe. Why didn't the owner speak up? I've been going there for years, this whole internal dialogue of BS. But there it was. And then I just decided that person had their own right, and the owner had her right, and I had my right. So I just decided to take care of myself, remove myself, not say anything, and then I just went home, and it was fine. So that little tiny thing makes me see, Marta, what in the hell are you doing? Here you think that you have this kindness, you think you have this love, you think you have this compassion, and then one little thing happens that invades your safety or invades how you think things should be, and boom, it just gets everything all stirred up. And so that's all. So nothing. So there, I'm just telling you this ridiculous story. That is my life. That happens, and that's part of the learning. That I come here tonight, and then Marvin says that, and I say in my mind, why did Marvin just not turn Facebook off? Well, don't listen to that stuff. And then Tony read that, and then I thought of the story again, and I thought, yeah, I need to think about this. I need to think about that quote that Tony gave. It's really beautiful. And yeah, so that's all about that.
There's always a little eggshell in your favorite omelet. A little sand in your lovely spinach casserole. That's the Prakash, the order of that people come in. So why don't you choose? Because I can't really keep up with it.
It's going to be Joshua now.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes. It's interesting. Kindness is an interesting topic, and I'd like to start this chat with expressing some kindness towards you all and say how much I appreciate this little Zoom time and having everyone's little chats and their ideas. Like even just what Marta said was so beautiful and insightful. And it was just it's lovely to have a meeting like this, in these times. And yeah, in regards to wholeheartedness, I was going to say the quote that Tony Patanidi was going to say, but he sort of stole it right out of my brain before I could speak it. I think this, where Barbara was talking about psychology and in the discourses and saying something along the lines of, if you don't do something with your wholehearted parts of yourself, then you're going to be quick to go to a psychological angle and do its opposite. And but I was saying I was interested in finding out what ways people try and cultivate kindness in their life, because from my angle it looks to be just like another habit, just another practice. But yeah, also it's interesting that's my question, to hear if anyone has any ideas about how they cultivate kindness. Feel free to speak up or type in the chat, whatever you like. But yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, we'll keep that on the table, because that's what we're looking for. But what I want to know is, are you wholehearted about that university?
Well, it's interesting because it's a big challenge for me, but so far, yes, shockingly so, because I'm doing business, the most unspiritual of all academic pursuits. That's a joke, but so far I'm feeling wholehearted. It brings up a lot of baggage for me, academic study. There's very little that triggers my emotional issues as academic study and assessments and exams and assignments and essays. But I've got my book open, studying accounting as we speak in this conversation, and so far it's still feeling wholehearted.
Bravo.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be raining now. Jai Baba.
Marvin brought to mind a great little piece in East West Gathering, but because I'd had the other page open at Beloved is All in All, before I read that, I just like to read this one couplet to you about being kind or expecting things around Baba, where Francis says, "My journey to you has been through thousands of trials, requiring thousands of courages. And you asked me when I arrived, had I noticed the price of cabbages?" Every time I get too serious, I have a melody to it. I sing it with like Peter Davies' voice, a booming Welsh voice in my mind's eye, and things become a little lighter and a little more funny. But this 1962 little piece in East West Gathering, page 27, points out that you think it's difficult with people around you, and I've got the white fluffy slipper. It's real, Marvin. I do have the white fluffy slipper ready. So I blame Baba. It's very light. It's pure wool and whap. Anyway, so this is called the workers. The workers love working for their king, Meher Baba. They're also desirers, but only to the extent that of desiring Baba's praise. And they greet the rising sun as its rays glance from the roof of his palace like golden arrows. We gather this is at Guru Prasad. They tend the gardens and they keep the wide avenues of the street, and they keep the trees. They build arbors and they build shrines, and they welcome visitors and encourage them to remain and live near the city, promising them a glimpse of their king one day. They hold great conventions at which they read reports of work well done, and they outline future plans. They call one another important worker and great lover. But that's only because they're a little bit over serious. You have to see them as serious as children at play. And as children, of course, they quarrel a lot, but in the end sing sweetly together in simple unison.
Beautiful. Wow.
That's life as a mandali, having to be all these nice, kind things with the pressure that must have been on them day and night. I mean, I love that they quarrel a lot and then they sing sweetly together.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're bringing in Francis in here, because it just brings it more to life in light of what we're talking about.
Hey, Baba. Michelle and Marvin.
Yeah, it's actually Michelle. Marvin went to pick up Aaron, so he doesn't have to take the train home from work. So recently I have to go to Florida. Well, I didn't have to go. So I'm going to talk about kindness and wholeheartedness. So my dad is not doing well, and he's in rehab. And my dad's wife is not much older than me, but she has a walker and her knees are gone. There's a lot. And I go into the house and I can't believe the disaster. And I don't know where I got the energy from, and this wholeheartedness of getting this open, it's a kind of a rant, not a, one story with a very open floor plan with the kitchen and the living room and the dining area, but it was a complete disaster. And all I could do was just focus on Baba and just plow through that in 3 days and get it to a place of where she could function, because my dad is a very, so I have to be kind. He's a very difficult man. The neighbor, I was sitting outside having tea, and she was asking, she said hello, and I told her who I was or who I am, and I said, I don't understand how he's still alive. It's how he still keeps going, because he's really not doing well. And he's 88. And she said, he's just mean. Well, he's mean. And I was like, whoa. And so I was just trying to be, well, he's a difficult person, and not using words that what I really think in my head, and just really going there and trying to support, Debbie, his wife, and help her out, because there's no one there to help her, and they live far away. So I think that wholeheartedness and working for Baba and doing what Baba would want me to do, knowing that there is really no, anyway, I just, and that wholehearted and kindness kind of were woven into this 4-day intense experience, and having to drive in Florida, in Tampa, through that, it was just kind of crazy, strip mall land, desolate, and so I guess that's my story.
And
So
beautiful
Baba. And really just trying to deal
go
with
ahead.
my family on that level of the ones who are however they are. It's like, well, just trying to use kind words, even though we don't know what kind of difficulties people are going through. And so being kind and is so important. It's just so important. And not being reactive. And
Yeah.
giving back.
And that's what you get from Baba. You know what I mean? That just something, if without Baba, you might not have been so inspired to go there and be kind and helpful and everything. But you know that Baba, that's what Baba would like.
And I have to go back, because I've only scratched the surface. It's just, yeah. Ooh.
Jai Baba. Wonderful. Diane and Terry.
I don't know if I know how to do things without my whole heart, to be truthfully honest. Way before I even knew Baba, from a little child, I took a caretaker role in my family, and it was kind of, if you weren't going to do it well, why even bother? So it was kind of just a part of who I was. And picking the career I picked, I mean, I'm so intimate with people, and if they're wretched, it could ruin my day, but I'm not. Oh, I clean teeth, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day. And I figure if they're wretched, they have problems, which just makes me sweeter and nicer. So they have at least a little piece of what it feels to be treated well and to be cared for. And before I even knew Baba, this was the way I do things. Now I bring him into when I do them. And I think it might be even a little easier to be wholehearted when he joined me, to be honest.
Yeah.
With y'all, it became it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. It feels like just the way it's supposed to be.
Beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, can I add to that?
Sure.
I want to talk about kindness, because I have to learn a lot of kindness from my wife. When I had places to go in the car, when we were allowed to go outside, I'd get upset if somebody did something on the road. I didn't do road rage or anything like that, but I would, I could swear like a sailor, with the windows closed. And Terry's always saying things like, you don't know if they have to rush to the hospital because their wife, just called them, or you don't know, always trying to have me.
I always say maybe they have a belly cramp and they have to get to the bathroom. It's like you got to give people some slack. Otherwise, you're pissed off all the time, and that's not fun.
Yeah.
And what I've been trying a lot, because I've been reaching out in different groups to ask for help about how to extend kindness, especially when I feel judgmental about something. One thing that I keep learning about in sessions like this is that sometimes people were a lot worse in their previous incarnation. What I'm seeing is them doing a lot better, which is, in my judgment, really scary. But in this whole context of different incarnations and what we are to each other has allowed me to have more compassion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a whole journey of evolution in us. Yeah. You guys are doing quite well.
Jay Baba. Thanks, Diane and Terry. It's going to be Mary and Louis.
Hi. Oh, thank you for this topics. I focused more on wholeheartedness, as in my growing up, there was I have a big heart, but I was trying to hide who I was in so many ways and look like the good girl. I was the youngest of four. I was the most rebellious, and I tried to hide it so I would fit in. So you can imagine the conflict that created energetically, and growing up. So I had to bury a lot of that high energy to try to be so good. So what I'm finding is, and I went into this professionally also, psychodrama and working with others, and something that also building on something of what you said, Tony, thank you for everybody inspiring me, is that the two sides of the coin in the world of duality. Now, when I'm in the unitive state and I'm flowing, there's no two sides, but as I'm human being in the world of duality, I got two sides of everything. And Baba is very clear about that. There's happiness and unhappiness, pain and pleasure. And he names a bunch of opposites. And so what I find is if I'm not feeling very open-hearted, I got to go look at that other side of the coin. But what I've learned is now I'm going very willingly because I've been doing it for decades. But if I'm working with a client or somebody who's not used to doing this, nobody wants to go to the other side because it feels like the death. It feels like, oh my God, I'll die if I go there. So for me, I call the other side if I'm not wholehearted, I know I got to go to my sort of nasty girl, my mean, nasty Marion, as I call her. And I've got to let her have some life. And I always tell Baba, because I learned in my training, always take the hand of God when going into the lower self. So I just then let her rip, and mean, nasty Marion sits beside me, and I find out what needs were not met for her, that aspect of me that feels not open-hearted, because there's something in me that is not being acknowledged, and a need I may have for something. And it could be for more support. It could be for more like-minded companionship or mutuality, or it could be for more fun in my life, or it could be many, many different things. So what I find is with a healthy boundary and always giving it over to Baba is let that aspect of myself really let it out. And what happens is it transforms. It changes. It turns from, it turns into gold. And I end up laughing. Well, now it doesn't take so long in my life because I've been doing it for so long, but still it gets tough sometimes. when I notice myself not being open-hearted, I can be walking down the streets of New York City and somebody's in my way. You know, I love the word idiot, you know, so I call everybody an idiot. And because I love that word, it appeals to that mean, nasty Marian self that I never got to call anybody an idiot growing up, and or in my, you know, my relationships. And so then I tell Bob, I said, okay, I'm calling them an idiot again. You know, I'm having fun with that, and just kind of let it go. Never anymore beat myself up for any of that stuff, but to keep taking it further, turn it over, looking at what my real need is. I thought, oh, it's for some space. It's for some room to walk. It's for honoring the other people around me. So I might go put my hand on a tree or something along the sidewalk in New York City. We got beautiful trees, and stop and take a breath and look at a flower and breathe, or something to fulfill my real need in the moment. So I find that my mean, nasty self is a gateway for further transformation and further being very in touch with my real needs. And then I can turn it over to Baba and I can say, what support do I need to fulfill that need, and let it go. And that's, thank you.
Yeah. Great. And you drop back into a wholeheartedness once you kind of take care of that, the nasty Marian. Anyone else? I have a little story that took place in Chicago. Michelle, did you hear that? This is Chicago. So, three of my sisters, my brother, and one of my sister's husband, they were going to meet me in Chicago. I mean, we were going to get together in Chicago. My sister's husband went to University of Chicago, so I flew up, not knowing much about Chicago. I flew up, and then I looked at the subway thing, and subway took, or whatever, the elevated train took me to the center of the city, and then it gave you an option. You could take, they were recommending that you take a bus along Lake Michigan to the University of Chicago. But I looked at the elevated train, or whatever they call it, and I said, wow, that's, why don't I just take I'm right here in the whatever you call it, the subway. Why don't I just take, what do they call it?
It's the L train.
Oh, okay, the L train. So I said, why don't I just take the L train? It doesn't quite get to Chicago, but maybe I'm, 10 blocks short, and I'll just walk the rest of the way. So I'm waiting around. I find where the train is, but I'm not real confident. So I asked this black lady, I said, is this the train that I should be taking to, to Chicago, to the University of Chicago? And so what this lady does is she opens up her her what do you call, flip top telephone, and she goes off to the side, and she says, I'll tell you. So she's making this call, and I'm kind of waiting around and everything. Some trains are coming by. Eventually a train comes, and she says, we get on here. So I get on the train. I should back up and tell you, Michelle. There's this, I'm on a platform with this black lady, and I asked her, is this the train to go to the University of Chicago? So she says, she doesn't say anything. She just goes off, opens her flip phone, and she's over there just talking. And finally, trains are going by. Finally, the right train comes, and she says, come on. So I go on the train with this lady and everything. She's still not saying anything. We're sitting side by side. And then at one point she finishes her phone call, and she says, where you are going is very dangerous, and you should not even be going there. You are going into the South Chicago. No white person should be there. And I looking around on the train, I'm the only white guy in there. She says, I've called my son, and he is going to be at the station with his car. So when we get off this train and we go down the steps, my son is going to meet us, and we're going to get in his car, and he's going to take you to the University of Chicago. So, I mean, so we're taking this L across. I'm looking down there. There's not a single white person for miles and miles, for stop after stop. And finally we come to a stop. We go down the steps, and right at the bottom of the steps is her son's car. We get in the car, and they scoop me out to University of Chicago. Otherwise, it would have been very dangerous for me. So, I mean, that was just one act of kindness. I was totally ignorant about the city. So anyway, that was a beautiful act of kindness that was unimaginable. Anyway. Anyone else? Or we oh, Payam, good.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
So quotes actually I got from some of these wonderful late night chats. This one is the intellect has to be schooled into realizing that everyone and everything is of tremendous importance. I'll read that again. The intellect has to be schooled into realizing that everyone and everything is of tremendous importance.
Beautiful.
This is by Mayor Baba. And I guess on this topic, for me, so much of it has to do about my selfishness. And the more I practice not always thinking about what I want or what suits me and my family or my agenda, whatever it is, the better I feel I'm following what Baba wants me to do, which is to put this big ego and self-driven way of doing things to more like asking, Baba, where is it that I'm needed? It used to be like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, and this sounds good, and this is what needs to happen. And instead, I'm learning slowly still, where am I needed? Where do you want me to be? And this quote of everyone and everything. You know, I have a tortoise, a desert tortoise. Don't ask how we got this desert tortoise, but it's a long story. And I'm rushing about in my day, and sometimes it's as simple as taking care of this tortoise. And in the big scheme of things, you know, there are a lot of other seemingly important things I have to do. But sometimes that's the most important. Anyways, so I'll read one more quote. Again, I got this from one of the late night chats. When you forget yourself, then Baba can live through you. When you forget yourself, then Baba can live through you. And I guess that's all about the kindness. And what was the other phrase you used, everyone? The topic for tonight was kindness.
Wholeheartedness.
Yes, wholeheartedness. Can I put my heart into things that I don't even feel like doing?
Yeah.
It's a daily challenge. So, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of one time Balna too said there was one type of yoga that that the Mandali had to master. And it was sitting, just 3 words, sitting, doing nothing. You had to be able to do that basically wholeheartedly. I mean, that is not easy. I mean, because
Yeah.
Baba didn't have everybody, running around actively.
Mhm.
He didn't, sometimes you were there for hours, and you had to do something with that time, sitting doing nothing.
There you
And
go, Josh. You got this one down, love.
the other one is, and then we'll get Muncie. Baba said, everyone is first and important, and no one is second. Beautiful line. Everyone is first in importance, and no one is second. If that paradigm were our paradigm for this world, we'd have an entirely different world. But go ahead, Muncie. Yeah. Are you
Yeah,
in
Baba.
okay?
Yes, that's right. I am.
Yeah.
So I want to add to what a lot of people have already spoken about, being wholehearted. I have my mother who's not doing great. She's quite sick. She's taken care of by my brother. In India, it's a very common thing. So she lives with them. And many times I feel like they are not, when I say they, I mean my brother and the wife. They're not maybe doing things the way they're supposed to, or take care of her the way they're supposed to, according to me. That's my limited understanding, because I don't live with them and I just see like the peripheral things going on, right? And that's when I feel like Baba really helps me out with the thought of wholehearted love. I never want to doubt my love for my brother. And that just kind of straightens my thoughts and brings me back to the fact that no, why am I doubting this? I'm sharing this only because this really helps me get through things. And eventually, believe me, it always happens that my thoughts were wrong. I'm always proven wrong, that I'm doubting them, the way they're behaving, or the way they're taking care of her. And that really helps me also to understand people who love me. When somebody is mean to me, my son, for instance, he can be very crude. He's like 20, and you know how these young children can be. And that at that point, when I feel like, no, I know he loves me, I just give him the benefit of doubt. And sooner or later, I do find out that there's something going on in him, and that's the reason why he behaved the way he did. So that has really helped me get through everything. Wholehearted love, the faith in my love for somebody, and the other way around. Just trust that that person loves you, truly does. So just wanted to share this because it really helps me get through my day. Thank you. Jai Baba.
Yeah. The victory is his. Beautiful. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, well, Tony's writing everything down because, he's taking notes. He's think he's back in college, waiting.
Some of these things are really worth writing down and remembering.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a few of them in the chat. Thank you, Tony. I realized I didn't have to write it out after I'd written it out. I could have taken a photo of the chat. So thank you.
So Prakash.
Hey, Jai Baba. No, I was just after listening to Tony share that beautiful quote of Baba. There is a little bit of, something more that is also there. This is in Beams, page 65. I thought I'll just quickly read this. The thing that Tony quoted is, if the action does not have the wholehearted support of the innermost being of a person, it is quick in inviting its opposite. So that thing. And so here, Baba goes further in this, until the entire accumulated self of a person comes into complete harmony with the one divine self within, the law of opposites inevitably comes to this help, whether he constantly wants it or not. He further goes, suppose a person kills sick animals out of what he regards as compassion for them, that is, with the intention of giving them relief from suffering. His innermost being does not sanction this apparent act of compassion, since he would not like that sort of compassion to be expressed towards him if he were ill. This implicit acknowledgement of cruelty involved in killing animals is sufficient to necessitate his having to become, in some life, a shepherd or a cowherd or a herder of animal kingdom. Very similar is the case of the one who keeps hens awake all night in order that they should lay more eggs, not realizing the callousness involved in it. In the world of plants also, one may inadvertently or deliberately cause wanton destruction, only to attract to himself the role of a horticulturist or a gardener. The harm which one may have inadvertently or deliberately have done to any living beings has to be made good. In a future incarnation, he has to nourish and protect those very souls, either as a kind head of a family or a wise ruler. So now I thought I just happened to come across this, and then I thought I'll quickly share this.
Beautiful. Yeah, I hadn't heard that in a long time. You know. Yeah.
What is that from?
That's from Beams, page 65.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It. I wonder if it's as well in discourses somewhere, but I'm not so sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So Marcia, oh wait, I better not bring in Marcia here. No.
Is that page 64, Prakash? Is that what you said?
65.
I believe it's 65. That's where I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's. Yeah. Let's see if there's.
Marcia, you have something? I mean, you're unmuted.
No, I had something before, but I can't find it now. So.
Okay.
Let me go.
Yeah.
Does there, anyone, the word, because of wholeheartedness, the word enthusiasm came into my head. And, you know, one has to, when you're a musician and you're asked to do something, you might have been asked to do it 5,000 times, and you have to produce in a split second through all your synapses the completely original enthusiasm. And you get good at that. You get good at producing enthusiasm, and that can induce wholeheartedness afresh. And you know, I mean, a lot of people think that a lot of Francis's work can be negative, but every now and again he just zaps you with this incredible energy of enthusiasm that he obviously saw from the light from Baba or whatever energy, and also the constant change. Constant. You couldn't be attached to sitting. In fact, Baba used to do this, right? Stand up and sit down at the same time. And just that, how to keep that edge of, it's unique. It's him. Be enthusiastic. So if you're enthusiastic and new about something that's well learned and memorized and whatever, sure enough, it'll come up as if it's new. So there's all these positive things, particularly in my aging self, that I have to keep track of. You know, I can't, I've got to, you know, file that again. I've got to record that again or something. You've got to try and remain enthusiastic, and that produces wholeheartedness afresh.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible how the Mondling, especially Erich, would be called upon to say the same story again and again and again, and he would bring that all vividly before you again and again. I mean, it's not like and they were kind of using him a little like a jukebox, you know. Oh yeah, put that thing on, you know. I mean, and he was so gracious, unbelievable, that he was able to tell the same story hundreds and hundreds of times with that same enthusiasm. I mean, like a performer, but he wasn't a performer. I mean, he wanted to reenact as authentically as he could what had happened, you know, with Baba. Hey, but let's go back to Josh. Josh, ask your question again.
How do people cultivate the habit of kindness? I'll give an example myself. Yeah, it's. I think it's small things. I look, you know, Baba would always compliment new artists. You know, that was part of his thing. You know, if you're doing an art, tell yourself that you're one of the best artists in the world, and then that'll help you improve. And so whenever I see a new artist, I try and pass that compliment on to them. And yeah, I think small compliments, you know, are very helpful in just keeping up the habit. And, you know, they just cheer someone's day, you know. And you never know when you're going to need that karma coming back towards you in your future lifetimes. So it's good to start sowing those seeds now of helping others, to put some of that proverbial money in the bank. And, you know, they could save your life one day.
Yeah. Pay forward. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's... Oh, go ahead, Diane.
So a couple years ago, I got together with somebody that I had worked with back in the early 90s. No, in the early 2000s. And she let me know that a kindness that I had extended her and an authenticity that I had shared with her impacted her so much that it changed her entire trajectory. And she attributes that to me. And I almost had to say, what did I say? What did I do? I mean, I was just being myself, and we have no idea how we impact people. So, you know, there's a bumper sticker, practice random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Because kindness without an agenda is how I hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful bumper sticker. You see that. And yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's just done spontaneously. And that's the beauty of it.
Jeff,
yeah.
Joanna Bruford came to mind with random acts of kindness. I'm sure you met her over the years. The walking kindness was Joanna Bruford. And one day, long time after everybody else had seen it, she saw that bumper sticker and she wrote it out on a big piece of paper and came up to the abode and she's just so enthusiastic, Joanna, especially towards us younger ones. Like I was only about 5 years younger than her, I think, and she just kept saying it. Has anyone seen this? Has everyone seen this? And I thought, it's amazing. It's who you are. But you're absolutely shocked that everybody else found it and put it on a bumper sticker. It was so touching.
Didn't even know how kind she is.
No, she didn't. It was just her whole
beautiful
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Michael, we're talking. Oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah, Marta.
I just wanted to follow up on Joshua's statement. Something to cultivate kindness. I've always been really, I love the Dalai Lama when he said, my religion is kindness. I always remembered that. And I love the word kindness. And I love the way it feels when I receive it from so many people. And lately, without really thinking, but it seems like it's become something I'm trying to do. Because I watch myself always have an opinion about everything, whether I voice it or not. And I've watched that what I've been doing, instead of saying, oh my God, I can't believe that they're doing that. You know, I can't believe that they're eating that ice cream without a mask on. But instead of doing anything about that thought, I try to say something, oh my God, your sandals are really cute. You know, try to say something positive about whatever is going on, to touch the person in a way that's elevating. And it's brought me great joy, and it's fun. You know, it's kind of a fun thing to catch myself, which is the work, because stuff comes out of my mouth really fast. Is to catch myself and just wait, don't say that. Notice something or say something lovely about the person or what they're doing or anything. I mean, you know, anything. And that helps me to remember kindness. Joshua. Yeah. And it's fun.
That's a nice wig you have. No, I'm just joking. No, you know, one of the things that that has helped me is I've always been very curious of what makes people tick. You know, not so much how they feel about me, but how is it? Why are they that way? You know, how are they? What makes them be the way they are? And then by getting kind of personally into them, it gives you a lot of kindness, little things that you can do because you're following them really closely. You can lend a hand, you know, rather than making so much self-reference, getting over into them. And then when I can get over into them, then somehow that focus dictates what to do and how to be and everything. What the words come, you know, by being focused on them. It's all kind of implanted in them. I'll just say one time I would go in to see Kitty, and you know, but within about 45 seconds we're over here talking about me, you know, and I'd go in another time, oh my God. So I decided I'm going to go in and find out, Kitty, how are you doing? What's going on? What do you have planned and everything? And before you know it, we're over here talking about me again. And I tried it a number of times, and I realized that her interest in me, her focus on me was so much more powerful than my focus on her, that I was having to go upstream. The current of her to me was so much more powerful than my current to her. So I'd be trying to go upstream, you know, and then I just, before I know it, I would be the tension goes to the weakest link. I gave up. But she was able to look away from herself in the same way that the Mandali were. They were able to get into someone, not through the screen or the lens of themselves, but just to see them as they are in themselves. With not so much, they were kind of able to look over the top of themselves and see that person objectively, and then respond to them. It was a beautiful thing. Anyway, looks like Michelle.
When the quote, practice random acts of kindness came up, it reminded me of the story that Erich told about the town whore who I think there was a drought and they needed rain. And so they needed somebody to ask God for rain. And was it the master?
They went to the master.
They went to the master, and the master said, well, you have to ask so-and-so. And so they went and asked her, and she was very upset, and she went to the master like, why are you asking me to pray to God? I am, you know, I'm a whore. I don't do these things. You know, what? Are you kidding? And she was reminded that she did an act of kindness without thinking about it. There was a cow who was tethered very tightly to a pole, a rope, and the cow could not reach the hay. And she was walking by, and without thinking, she just kicked the hay towards the cow, which was an act of kindness without her ego wasn't in it. It was just something she did randomly without selfless service. And so that act of selfless service was a deed that if she asked for rain, it would rain and it would be granted because, and I'm not telling the story well. He's the storyteller. I can sing a
The
song.
master saw
But
that.
anyway, but the whole idea is that, and if anybody wants to chime in about the story, please do. So he's making fun of me.
Oh, beautiful though.
And
No,
Marta, I love that idea of whenever you're, because I sit in judgment all the time in my head, and my mouth probably says things that it shouldn't, and I've been thinking about that idea of how could I turn that around and not get into a conflict and just let it go and just let things be. And yeah, so Jay Baba.
Beautiful. It's going to be Tony, I think. Jai Baba, Tony.
Jay Baba. I forgot one thing when I spoke before, but another thing that speaks to me about the discussion tonight is kindness. And I came to Baba in the first week of March 1970, and I recognized him immediately, and it was a time of real celebration. And I didn't have any Baba buttons, to wear. I didn't even know they existed. But someone out of the blue came up to me and gave me, I don't know if you can really see it in this picture. You can't see it too well. You see that little, wait, where is it? Blue button on my lapel under the carnation. It said, "Try a little kindness." And to me, it was like wearing Baba's picture. And so the subject has always meant a lot to me. And the other thing, it's not a big share, but as I've been listening, I suddenly heard Otis Redding's song, "Try a Little Tenderness." And I recall watching one of the videos Angela put up of Don Stevens at Mayor Baba House about 20 years ago. And where he talked about the quality of Baba that he most associated with Baba was tenderness, his tenderness. And I'm hearing that song, and I'm hearing the sweetness of Otis Redding's passion in singing that, "Try a Little Tenderness." And it is, I think, a more, it's kindness, but kind of a more refined kind of kindness, a more poignant kind of kindness. And about how to do these things, I remember once being at the center in the refectory, and Darwin was there with his daughter. I forget her name. What's that?
Leatrice?
No, it wasn't Leatrice was there, but Renee. Yes, it was Renee. And I wanted to ask, and I did to some degree ask. It was a big table, so I don't know if Darwin heard it, but how do you do this thing? I think it was, how do you surrender? Something. And her answer was so matter of fact. It was just, in effect, she said, "You just affirm it. You just affirm, I'm surrendering this thing. I'm doing this thing." And how to express kindness, I think, is the biggest thing for me really is remembering to bring kindness into this situation, or even tenderness into this situation. And this is a very timely subject for me right now. So really appreciate Baba doing this here.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's it.
You have the enthusiasm for sure, Tony.
What's that?
You have the enthusiasm for sure. on just about everything. Okay.
Jai Baba, Rennie.
I just because Tony told that story, and I'm sure he'll remember the story when I repeat it, is that Meher Baba heard Otis Redding's LP and liked Try a Little Tenderness and liked Sitting on the Dock at the Bay. It turned out that Sam Kerawala, when he was in the Merchant Marines, heard Otis Redding's LP and bought the LP and took it to Marizad and gave it to Baba. And
Ooh.
played to him, and he loved that CD, that LP, that long play record. But I wanted to say that it must be in the air what Marta was talking about. I have a pet peeve because I was traumatized once when a woman's dog a few years ago was stolen from outside a local coffee shop, a beautiful dog, because she left it tied up outside. So I have a traumatic response when I see dogs tied up. I feel like I should stay around till the owner comes, and I've got my own responsibility on the bench down the way, but I get distressed. And there were these two dogs tied up, but one was tied up with a box with obviously a cake in it above him, but he was shaking. So I stood there and I was so cross and waiting for this awful man with his pastry to come out, and I was going to say, dogs get stolen from around here, so as he could share my trauma, I guess. I didn't have the fluffy slipper with me, but anyway, when I was distracted and went back to Franny, then came back a few benches, and it was this lovely lady. She was so beautiful and so well kept, an older woman with a matching ring and dress and toenails done and everything, and so sweet and so beautiful that I got completely distracted from how cross I'd been. And I said, I love your colors today. And she said, oh, thank you. She said, I suppose you saw my dog shaking. He has a bit of distemper. He shakes. And I just walked away feeling so glad I'd shut up and I'd said something nice, Marta. And yes, and it gets to be a practice. It's you have to practice, and eventually it'll become more of the reality, I think.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Can you show Marvin the slipper, because he was gone when you showed it?
Yeah. For Marvin, I think you need a leather slipper.
No, it has to be light and very fluffy and pure wool, because it really can't hurt. It just has to be and just dust the surface, but the act of it takes it off it's nobody else's fault. It's just me and him, and you did this and serve you right, the fluffy slipper syndrome. There's one in this room and the other one's in the other room, in case.
Wait
a minute, you have to say you were muted.
Oh.
What did you say?
Was it kicked there? The other room?
Possibly. It's too hot here to wear them anyway, but they were a lovely gift from South America. So I had to find a good use for them, right?
All right.
The fluffy slipper, that's making me furious. And then Baba takes the blame and takes it off me.
Uncle Lammy might need those slippers.
Oh yeah, Lammy will understand this. It's made of lamb.
Who's next? Is it VJ?
Yeah, VJ next.
Hi. Yeah, I just forgot.
Seems he's gone.
Yeah, he's practicing his magic tricks. Well, let's go on to Michael.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Not dragging up my father again. I learned a lot of things from him. Usually they were negative, but it was my responsibility to turn them around. He was a very critical man. And a lot of times his criticisms were good, But if whatever you say is shot down or questioned, especially when you're a teenager, you don't want to talk much. So it was very oppressive to be around somebody telling me what they thought, because they thought it didn't matter. You know, they were king of the roost and they could say what they wanted. And of course, one of the things that I've been working on is, well, I went up to a seminar leader, and she'd given a seminar, and I given my opinion about her seminar. She said to me, well, if you'll forgive the language, I like it because it's colorful. She says, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them. And so my well thought out criticism was like just nothing. It was a piece of garbage. And it's if my overweening love for my own opinion was more important than what she had done or what somebody else had done, and that they were inconsequential to what I thought. It was like when I was doing art shows and somebody would come along and say, you know, that's very fine. And I'm thinking, that's not going to put gasoline in my tank. If you think it's fine, buy it, then I'll believe it. See, what we say to each other, then there's the retaliation. Somebody says something to you that's maybe valid, like, why weren't the dishes washed? And then retaliate with, well, you didn't do it last night. And it's just a retaliation to get even. And I have been working very hard on myself just to shut my mouth before these things come out, because I was brought up with them. It's like second nature. So my son has, well, it used to be schizophrenia. It's now something else. But he has to take meds. And I know if I say anything that's critical to him, that has an edge to it, he'll get angry. So I have to discipline myself and tone it down. I says, you know, we all need to participate here, and I'd like you to empty the dishwasher. Now, in my earlier days, I would have been angry and it would have come out, damn it, empty the dishwasher. It's so easy. Anybody can do it, blah, blah, you know, all these little diminutive statements that we make, or we can add to something. And when I was in India with David, 2011, when he was recuperating from the hip operation that he had, I spent a lot of time with Bao, and there was a father who had brought his son to be with Bao, and the son hadn't spoken. He was just silent. And Bao would ask him questions and he wouldn't say anything. And this went on for a week. And Bao was very kind to him. He didn't exhort him to speak. You know, what's wrong with you? You know, I know you know how to talk. You know, all the things we can say to each other. Why go into them, right? So Bao was very kind. And by the end of a week, he was beginning to talk to Bao, say a few things. And Bao looked at me significantly. I remember that look he gave me. He says, if you want to teach somebody or reach somebody, don't tell them the truth, which is really another way to attack somebody. Just be with them, walk with them. I think about that, and you know, tears come to my eyes. Of course, they come very quickly and readily these days, so I don't know that's so special. But Bao was very kind. He was very kind to me. And I think that is probably the best lessons to have in kindness, when somebody is kind and they show you how to be kind, whereas in your own mind, your own way of doing things is rather rough and you're not even aware of it. When Arich was going to throw the dove out of the mosque on the last night of the New Life, Baba reproached him and he said, "You almost ruined the New Life." And he said, "You know, you broke the main rule of the New Life, which was to be kind to each other." And that's an extraordinary thing to say, isn't it? That everything hinged upon being kind to a dove. Just like the whore who was kind to the cow. So it's these little things, these little acts of kindness that mark us. And anyway, that's my little talk.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Michael. Beautiful. We got
Vijay is back.
Finally come in. He just gave us the slip. Yeah. Let's do one last
Your power just went off. Your power went off, so there was an interruption. And yeah, I just wanted to, can you listen to me? Am I audible?
Yeah, it's amazing you're able to talk
Yeah.
without moving, but that's good. Yeah. You don't even move your lips anymore.
Well, yeah. Yeah, just I wanted to mention one aspect of kindness. And as you read earlier, cruelty. So, well, I think the message is like that from Baba, that I have to be cruel in order to be kind. So that reminds me of a surge.
Oh, the power went out again. VJ, we can't hear you. Here's what, until VJ comes back, I think I'll do a final reading from Rumi. And then if VJ comes back, we will...
Who is the translator, Jeff?
It's a guy named Jonathan Starr.
Thank you. Great.
It's called A Mine of Rubies. M-I-N-E, a mine of rubies. Last night I learned how to be a lover of God, to live in this world and call nothing my own. I looked inward, and the beauty of my own emptiness filled me till dawn. It enveloped me like a mine of rubies. Its hue clothed me in red silk. Within the cavern of my soul I heard a voice, the voice of the beloved crying, "Drink now, drink now." I took a sip and saw the vast ocean before me. Wave upon wave caressed my soul. The lovers of God danced around, and the circle of their steps became a ring of fire around my neck. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder, 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder, 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Let's see if we get one last thing from VJ. Are you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just that when surgeon does some surgery, so he has to be cruel to cut to perform the operation. So that way, in order to do kindness, he has to be cruel. And also Baba said in the discourses that war is a necessary evil. So I just wanted to mention these aspects of kindness.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The kindness that hurts. Well, I think here on the East Coast it's oh man, it's coming up to 12 o'clock. So, you know what I'm going to try to do? I got to get the nerve up. I'm going to try to call Shireen Bonner, that's Bob's niece. See if she will share her times with Baba on Sunday. I'm gonna try that tomorrow. So that would be very nice, and I'll let you know if she says yes. And yeah, I'm thinking of it. Then I would like to get Meron Mehta sometime. I don't know if he's ever spoken.
You can do it, Jeff. I know you can.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I have Al to kind of help me out, you know.
Okay, call Al to help you.
I need an
I'll
Italian.
help you, Jeff. I'll help you.
See?
Yeah, I need an Italian to run interference. Someone on the front line, you know.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
See, I mean, he can't even. I mean, that's the way he talks all the time. I mean, it's like bumping people off and hanging them up on hooks, things like that. Putting, you know, their feet in cement and throwing them in the Hudson. I mean, that's the way he thinks.
That's
Anyway.
the fast track to God, Jeff.
Okay, well, anyway, thank you all for sharing, and you know, all of you beautifully. It was wonderful to hear from everyone. We didn't hear from Dinesh, but he's there.
Just a second.
But we heard from Payam. Oh,
Jai Baba.
well, here's what we got to have the Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai from Nasreen. Then we're free to go.
Avatar Meher
Baba Ki Jai.
Avatar
Meher Baba
Ki Jai.
Ki Jai.
Avatar
Meher Baba
Ki Jai.
Jai Baba.
That's the most beautiful. Okay.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you,
Well, we
Jeff.
meet
It's
again.
great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
A wholehearted thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Right
Jeff.
on.
Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Yeah.
Night.
Jai Baba.
Bye-bye.